Hello, my name's Vaughn, and I'll be talking about mechanisms for the robots for this year's game, High Stakes. So let's dive right in. Alright, so some common mechanisms. Almost every single year, the teams end up using a tank drive for many robots. This is because tank drive has been tested. It's two sets of parallel wheels, and they operate independently of each other. This is extremely effective for most use cases, unless you need very high maneuverability in specific scenarios. So I'll be talking about the intakes right now. So you have rings that you have to score onto mobile goals. And say this is a mobile goal with the base as my hand. You have to get the ring from the ground up and onto the stake. And to do this, you need some sort of rail and intake to do this. This is why most teams end up using a hook. The hook grabs on to the ring and pulls it up over a rail that is on a slant to the ground so that it pulls the rings up. This is very effective and is the most commonly used mechanism in Mall of America. So there are two types of these intakes. One is called hook intake and one is called a hood intake. A hook intake we can see on the right, where a robot is being pulled along by a hook. The hook is right here. And we see a hood intake over here, where there are rails that slide the rings up over and onto a mobile goal. The hook intake is very precise, but it's also very fast and has few opportunities to jam, so we want to be careful with the hook intake. And the hood intake doesn't jam as frequently, but it's not extremely precise. If there's generally not any place for the ring to latch onto, so it could be in a variety of positions inside the robot, which is sometimes a problem, but clever engineering has led to many teams being able to work around this. All right, so the wall stakes. There are three types of wall stakes: the high stake, the neutral stakes, and the alliance stakes. The alliance stakes are protected. You cannot descore on them if you are an opposing alliance. The neutral stakes are free for all, and the high stake is extra points, and it's very high up on the middle ladder, and it gains you extra points. So most lifts to lift a ring onto the high stakes generally use a lift, N-bar lifts. These use interlocking arms that are connected through a series of movable joints, and these joints allow this arm to move up. This is an example right here in the middle of the slide, and we'll see an example of this in 4610C. A claw lift could also work and has been used by a few teams. So here are a few competition examples. You have the 1101B BarkBots. They have a hook intake design and they achieved 7th place at the Mall of America. Their robot seems to use a pretty standard intake that has wheels that rotate the ring and push it into the intake, and then it has hooks that are on rails that go up and feed it into a mobile goal that's going to latch on at the back of the robot. This is common design and been employed by a lot of teams in the Mall of America event. For 4610C, they used an N-bar lift that has a hook intake. The hook intake can feed into the lift that allows it to score on wall stakes and allows it to make a level 2 climb. And they earned 7th place at the NJIT signature event. This robot right here is extremely fast. The creators were 229V Ace. They have a lift and it's at the beginning of the intake. So the intake itself rotates instead of being an N-bar lift. And it's very good at wall stick scoring. They earned 12th at Mall of America. 360X has a hood intake that feeds into what they call a backpack, which is a claw. It's useful for wall stake scoring, and they can score multiple rings at a time, and they're very efficient with mobile goals. So the conclusion is that for scoring on wall stakes, the lift is the most common and the best method to do it because the lift is reliable and it's been tried and tested. And most of the winning teams have used it. The lift is also useful because it can do climbs. One part of high stakes is doing a climb. This climb, depending on how high it is, you can get a lot of points. The highest climb, awarding, I believe, 17 points. It's a lot. The mobile goal mechanism, generally hook intakes are common and they're very fast at their job. So I would recommend using a hook intake, and that makes them my top mechanism for mobile goals. All right. Thank you.